How's it going, Ram fans? I'm Brandon Kruse, back from my week off to bring you yet another edition of Bleacher Beat. Well, the schedule for CSU athletics just got a little more active. Both men's and women's basketball finally tipped off their respective seasons today. I'll give you live looks and provide some keys to a Rams victory for each contest. Plus, the college football playoff system has been completely ruined. I'll explain why on Bleacher Beat, which starts right now. We begin with what has already been a busy day in Rams sports. The 2021 to 2022 campaign is officially here for both men's and women's hoops, with Moby Arena hosting a season-opening doubleheader today. The girls' squad was up first against Colorado Christian, which tipped off at 5. And in fact, that game actually just went final. Here's a quick summary of the action. CSU women's basketball got the win, 77-42 against Colorado Christian. McKenna Hofschild only had 6 points, but Anna Prim led the Rams with 14 points, so a good start for the Rams. And though a brief intermission follows, the men cap off this exciting night by battling Oral Roberts. Favorites to win the Mountain West, CSU will look to make a tournament run similar to that of ORU last season, when the Golden Eagles upset both 2-seeded Ohio State and 7-seeded Florida en route to a Sweet 16 appearance. You can basically copy and paste the roster from last year because the Rams return all 5 starters. And if you don't think experience is a luxury to have, just look at Baylor's national championship team a season ago. For CSU, Isaiah Stevens and Kendall Moore command the offense, while David Roddy leads the attack in the front court. Pushing the pace with speed and precise shooting is at the forefront of the Rams' identity, and they should be such a thrill to watch as the season progresses. It all starts with Oral Roberts tonight. The Golden Eagles do have some offensive fireworks of their own, but the story in this one will be CSU's defense. The Rams actually posted a higher efficiency on that side of the ball a season ago, so expect that to be the deciding factor in tonight's matchup. And that's not all I've got for you. Volleyball is also on the court right now, just 65 miles north, taking on the Cowgirls of Wyoming. The Rams swept the first match between these two in Fort Collins back in late December. Over a month later, they look to complete the season sweep and earn Border War bragging rights. Let's get an update from Laramie. CSU is currently up 1-0. They're currently leading 16-14 in the second set. Coach Hilbert isn't on the court though. He went out with he's not in the game right now for CSU on the sidelines due to testing positive for COVID-19. If the Rams can pull out the W, they'd improve to 13-2 in conference play, extending their lead to a game and a half over second-place Utah State atop the league standings. Okay, that was pretty encouraging stuff with basketball starting and volleyball cruising, but now we need a reality check with college football. Now don't worry, I won't be discussing CSU's embarrassing loss to the Pokes this past weekend. You heard enough of that during yesterday's sports show. Instead, let's take a broader look at the college football landscape and why the current 4-team playoff system is completely broken. I've got 3 points here. Number 1, a team's success is now defined by whether you're in the playoff or not, which doesn't allow for any sort of program growth. We've shoved too much meaning inside these 4 teams, which is way too narrow of a landscape in such a large sport like college football. And the significance of playing in other bowl games, especially in the New Year's Six matchups that aren't part of the playoff, has also been diminished. These games are now like the NIT of college football, which is just bad for the sport. The second problem is the way the committee is currently structured. 13 people sitting in a room talking with one another isn't anywhere near what you'd want to do if you wanted to end up with a data set that wasn't unbiased. If you've ever taken a statistics course before, this is the bell curve. We need more variables, more members or other committees that can throw out biases to get to that fat part of the bell curve, and thus more accurate rankings. And my final point is this. The committee devalues the actual games on the field. For example, Oregon and Alabama both have what I would consider to be bad losses, far worse than Ohio State, Michigan, or even Notre Dame. And yet, Oregon and Bama are ranked higher than those three teams. The head-to-head result only matters when you're comparing schools that have similar records, which is why 2-loss Texas A&M is not ahead of 1-loss Alabama. So what the committee is suggesting is that it pays to lose to a lesser opponent? Well, that doesn't make any sense. It's a mess, it's frustrating, and we've also got two standards of proof, where we give the benefit of the doubt to powerhouses like Bama or OSU because it's just more likely than not that they're a contender. Meanwhile, if you're Cincinnati, boy, you have to prove that beyond all reasonable doubt, you're one of the best 4 teams in the country. It's a civil versus criminal case, which just isn't fair. Their criteria for grading these teams needs to be way more consistent. And I see expanding the playoff as the first reasonable step to help even out this chaos. All right, I think that's enough talking from me today. Be sure to catch Cam's Corner on Thursday for more sporting news, and stick around for entertainment as Noah Pasley concludes tonight's show. I'll see you next week.